A little less than an hour ago, Artesian ended up putting out a tweet saying that they were looking for an employee-led buyout of the company. Now, I was in the process of making this video already, but this is just icing on the cake, because in the midst of writing that, they also removed all of the apology tweets that they had tried to make prior to now, which means that they were never really sorry to begin with, or at least the CEO wasn't. Noah Katz has been lying to his employees right along. He's been asking employees for loans to be able to pay for the business. He's been offering equity share in response for that loaned money and has never, to this date, delivered to any of the people that he has borrowed money from. The tax situation with the state of California now, from verified 4 different separate parties, is legitimate. They are now on a cash-only basis with the warehouses that are supplying them parts, meaning no more net 30, net 60, net 90 invoices on part shipments. They have to buy them ahead of time because the state of California stuff is legitimate. They are also not licensed to be able to offer warranties on any of the computers that they have been selling since November of 2021, yet they still are. Parts on their invoices are being marked up by 40% across the board. And if that's not bad enough, they're buying followers and viewers. Douchey douche. Hey everybody, Onepeg here. So this video, again, not about Escape from Tarkov, I know, but this will be the last video that I make about Artesian. For those of you that want to stick around for all of the details and all of the really interesting tidbits, because there's a lot here, I want to first say that there is a silver lining, albeit kind of like a dirty silver. The basic update here is that Artesian Builds posted a tweet today saying that at this point, we are examining potential employee-led buyout of the company. Thank you for your support. The reason why I say that this is a little bit dirty is that at the same time, they removed all of the apology tweets that they had originally made. It appears as though if they're going to try to make this an employee-led buyout of some kind, they're trying to wipe away this negative social media presence that they have now garnered for themselves. Really, the CEO has garnered for themselves. I don't want to say anything disparaging about any of the employees. Obviously, there's really only one person to blame here. Now, the problem with this is twofold. One is, I can't imagine that Noah's going to end up asking somewhat of a fair market price for a scarred brand like this one. We can only hope that he would be reasonable, but so far it doesn't seem as though that's going to be the case. The second is whether or not anyone's actually going to want it. There's a lot of work here that needs to be done. And if Noah's going to sell, the question is whether or not he's going to retain any level of ownership or control of the business whatsoever, and if he'll still try to pull his antics at the same time. There are some major examples of things here that have been going on over at Artesian that I find to be extremely problematic, and I don't know if they'll actually be able to dig themselves out. From what I have seen of former employees, and I mean by former employees, I mean within the last week, former employees, of people that I've verified multiple times over and from different angles, different third parties to be able to verify and re-verify who they were and are, it seems as though this may not be a ship that's worth saving. See, for those of you that are unaware, Artesian Builds has an extremely large, quote-unquote, Twitter presence. They also have an extremely large presence on Twitch, which is nice on paper. The problem is the numbers involved in its viewership. See, they have a tendency to stream a lot of their builds. They always have a PC on the bench, and they build away on a computer over the course of a stream or two or whatever. And that's great, except for the fact that the viewership numbers don't seem to make a whole lot of sense, except for the fact that I have this screen cap that someone sent me. Yet we're over here buying fake likes and views and followers. Now, this excerpt was taken from a former employee of Artesian that shared this information with me, basically saying that Artesian has been actively buying viewbots and follows on Twitch. If you have a company like Artesian Builds that's up for employee buyout, but you have a Twitch channel that is derived by viewbots and followbots, how valuable is that presence? The same thing goes for Artesian Builds as a Twitter page. If they're buying followers on Twitter, or if you're just getting follows because you're constantly doing giveaways, how good is that engagement? It isn't. Now, of course, there's a general stress that goes on in any workplace about owners tending to overpromise and not necessarily be able to deliver on time. Every contractor that has ever existed does that. You know, it's going to take 3 months to renovate your house, and it ends up turning into 6. And of course, the employees get annoyed because they know better. The thing is that in the case of Artesian, it seemed as though not only were they overpromising and underdelivering, they were also overcharging significantly. And it didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter if it was a charity giveaway where stuff like this vinyl wrap and glass etching toward the top were being listed at cumulative $500. This is the image of that. This is the vinyl wrap, one panel of the back of the PC. And then this is the quote-unquote glass etching, which is really nothing more than what appears to be a vinyl put on the glass. And I don't know about you, but that's not etching. That's just a sticker. It doesn't look etched at all. Not when you can wipe it off with a microfiber cloth. So you have this PC that's been touted as being state-of-the-art, $3,300 computer, not including taxes. And you put that up against a price list from anywhere on the internet, you're coming up with $1,620. Even if you were to subtract out this $600 tag, this is still a $2,700 PC. Even if the markup on this was another 15% based on what actual prices were back in October. Maybe they were 15% higher back then. Even on the outside, if the pricing for these items was 15% higher, plus the build fee that the builder would normally charge you of, say, maybe it's $100 to build this because it takes them an hour or maybe two, $50 an hour is a pretty good hourly rate for labor when it comes to assembling PC parts. You're on the outside $2,000. This PC, minus the custom decal and quote-unquote glass etching, $2,775. That's a 40% markup, 40%. And they are building 40 to 50 PCs per day between the two locations on the East and West Coast. That is an awful lot of extra revenue that most PC shops never see for whatever reason, somehow is not being allocated adequately to the company. Now, that quote that I showed you just a minute ago was for a system that was generated as a result of one of Pestely's giveaways. That quote was not provided to me by Pestely. That quote was provided to me by one of the winners that showed me the quote for that PC on Twitter this morning. There is another quote that I want to show you, though. This one pisses me off even more. What I mean by that is this. I'm just going to show it to you in MS Paint because whatever. The month of January, I got in trouble for spending a little over $200K in parts. My minimum per month should be $750K based on what we build. A procurement miracle, and he belittles me. This guy has gone as far to ask for loans from employees, yet everyone that was promised some kind of equity somehow hasn't gotten it yet. Wait a second, employees are being asked to loan him money? Just specifically someone who works for the company that has helped previously but has offered pretty much nothing in return. His parents, who are essentially his backing, monetary backing in all of this, say that they forced him to take a salary, yet he has and owns a Tesla Model S and an i8. So there seems to be serious mismanagement of funds going on. And that also means that in the case of an employee buyout, if that ends up occurring, there's going to be a significant amount of debt, it appears, that the company is going to have to reconcile before they're ever going to be able to figure this out. And if that isn't bad enough, I also have on very, very good authority that the two largest suppliers that supply computer parts and video cards, that kind of stuff, one located in Pennsylvania and the other one located in California, that Artesian has done all of its business with from a warehouse supply standpoint, both removed or relinquished credit access to Artesian. Artesian as a company is no longer deemed creditworthy enough based on the California legal filings that have occurred. So according to just about everyone that does business with Artesian on the outside at an industry level, at a commercial level, they do not have credit confidence in Artesian. And Artesian is now forced to have to pay cash for all of their parts. This is for a basic tower. Custom PC mid-full tower, Lee & Lee case, Ryzen 5 3600, B550 full ATX board without showing what the brand is. It just says B550. 240 millimeter liquid cooler. No brand name for 3600 megahertz, 16 gigabyte RAM. We don't know what the clock speeds are on it at all. An NVIDIA RTX 2060, again, no brand. 750 watt gold rated power supply. Again, no real brand here at all. No model. Stock non-RGB fans, a terabyte NVMe SSD. Again, no name, no brand. No Wi-Fi card. It's wired. And this piece here. Now, this quote was generated on February 22nd of this year. You're talking about a week and a half ago. This warranty that was sold as part of this quote, 5 years of labor, 3 years of parts. The problem with this, they can't legally sell a warranty. And this is what I mean. A few days ago, I shared this screen cap on my Twitter page. The DCA, California DCA, shows this contract, Household Goods and Services Bureau, licensing details for this licensee, Artesian Builds, otherwise known prior as Artesian Future Technology, which is now Artesian Builds, is license status delinquent for a service contract seller. It then goes in to show the license relationships and the underwriting insurance agency. Now, I was involved in, licensed to sell insurance and insurance-related products for over a decade. That was my profession before I became a content creator. And I can tell you that if you don't pay your licensing fees, you're not allowed legally to sell anything regarding insurance products. And the Department of Financial Services for each of these states will come down on you like a ton of bricks. And they are selling 30, 40, 50 PCs per day to clients and customers, offering them computers that they cannot legally sell warranties for because they didn't pay the $175 fee. That's bad. That's the kind of stuff that incurs hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in penalties because they're selling warranty contracts that they're unlicensed to sell to the tune of 50 per day since November of 2021. That's a lot of money. And that, again, if they end up doing a buyout to the employees, is something that the company will have to rectify in order for them to be able to make good on it. One report to the DFS, and it's over. For the record, this is to a charitable organization that is very well known in the Tarkov community. This is a PC being sold to members of the charity for them to use for the purpose of the charity. $1,937.92. This is that same system from PC Part Picker. $1,200. $1,200. It's been a week and a half. They're being overcharged $700 in parts and labor. $700. Everywhere I look, it's a 40% markup. If you had a PC that you bought that had a 40% markup, you would expect that all of the techs working in the shop on these computers that were building them must be like master level technicians, right? ASE certified master mechanics for PC building. It would make sense. They must be paid amazingly well and just have exemplary, high quality work, especially let's say if you were in the upper echelon, the max, the S-level tier of brand partnership with a guy like Nick Merckx, for instance. This is the PC that the West Coast office that Noah apparently had his own hands in built. I don't know about you guys, but there's a couple of problems. The East Coast ends up making the request to have that system sent to them to look it over to make sure that the build is right. If your own employees, if your own managers in different warehouses are asking the owner to send that to them so that they can do a once-over, because they know that the build quality is bad, you have something internally wrong with your company. They almost sent Nick Merckx that. And the icing on the cake? How about trademark infringement? Logical Solutions, who is a really well-known mod and the developer of Tarkov-changes.com, somebody that mods for Landmark, modded for Clean, mods for Willers, really, really well-known guy in the overarching Tarkov community, used to be a partner with Artesian. When he was partnered with Artesian, he had the same BSOD errors and overheating problems that just about everyone else has been complaining about. But one of the things that he wanted them to do was create some Qi charging pads, the little like proximity pads that you can put like your cell phone or like a wireless mouse on that would charge it up, and have them branded with his logo. Now, they told him it would be an RGB charging pad. The thing was, though, instead of giving him an RGB charging pad, they gave him like a rainbow filtered gel thing on the top of the pad and a white LED under it. The thing would light up, but it was just like a rainbow colored logo on the top, which is not what he wanted. So Artesian, after hemming and hawing back and forth with him, ultimately refunded him his money and took back the product as a show of good faith. On the surface, in my opinion, was a relatively decent thing to do. However, in future promo stuff that they ended up doing, they ended up using his logo in some advertisements that they ended up making because they just had it laying around or something. But they put out this thing on Instagram for a Christmas Black Friday sale and put his logoed stuff just out in the open for everybody to see in an ad that he never approved. And as all things go, that seems pretty light on the surface. Sure, you ended up wronging a content creator, and that's kind of messed up. They probably shouldn't do that again. But what about, like, larger brands, for instance? Well, here's the website for Artesian Builds. An Artesian Fan Sticker Pack version 1.0. Between $11 and $17. You can choose an option of 24 random or a specific lot of 50 stickers. They add your pricing up. And here's the sticker packs, though. We have this logo for a streamer named Braithorn or a content creator named Braithorn, but what's this? Oh, that's a Millennium Falcon. That's owned by Disney. This is a Triforce. That's Nintendo. This is Nintendo. That's an AMD-owned logo. That's Blizzard. Oh, Tesla. Interesting. NVIDIA? Huh. Now, as far as I am aware, all of those logos, for the most part, maybe not the GPU that's being depicted there, but that is being sold by Artesian in sticker packs. Last I knew, unless you have permission from those brands, which I would very much assume that they do not, you can't just sell logos on stuff that are owned, trademarked, copywritten by other brands. You can't do that, and yet they are. Again, cutting corners. The theme here is cutting corners. They seem to be doing that an awful lot. It's either negligence or it's outright skirting it because they figure that they can get away with it. Unfortunately, even if it is ignorance, ignorance is not a defensible stance. You can't just say, oh, sorry, I didn't know. That still comes with a penalty. You're not allowed to not know. That's why there are professionals that do the knowing for you that you pay to handle this stuff and make sure that you are abiding by the rules. The unfortunate reality is it seems as though these guys aren't. And every time they seem like they get caught, they try to defend it either by saying, oops, or ignoring it, or blaming their own employees. Again, I make these videos, or I made this video, videos like this one, because first, I want Artesian. I would like personally Noah to be better than what he is. I would like him to learn from these things, become a better business person, treat people with the dignity that they deserve, both internally in the company and externally as clients and customers. See, if they're getting this many orders on a daily basis, they should be able to make a very, very high quality build for people. They should take pride in their work. They should have a passion for this. It seems that Noah only has a passion for the money that is coming in. From what I can understand, it seems as though now he's scrambling, but doesn't want to take any accountability, any ownership over it for himself. He wants to pass the buck on to other people. And that, unfortunately, is not the way that business gets done or should be getting done. Again, they're in this position where they're looking at doing this employee-led buyout. Hopefully, this video does its part in highlighting everything here so that people stop going to Artesian in its current form to order PC stuff. Personally, I would love to support Artesian as a business if Noah were out of the picture. They have the potential to be an absolutely amazing brand if Noah isn't part of it. He needs to get out of the way, get rid of the company. But at the same time, I'm going to try and do my part to devalue this place as best I can, because if it's one thing that the employees deserve, it's a ground floor level purchase to be able to build this into something that it needed to have been from the beginning without all of this very obvious, almost Ponzi scheme-esque bullshit that has been plaguing this company for the last however many years. That's what I have for this one, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.